equipped each and every one of us with the needed skill to actually function in the digital age. Some months back, we as an organization we suffered some months back as an organization we suffered a very serious cyber attack, which actually, as an organization that is tech inclined, suffering a cyber attack of such nature was actually it was terrible because we could not phantom where the error was coming from because we are cyber security conscious in the organization. So I spoke to my boss, and my boss, who is the board chairman of the organization, the person of the distinguished Mr. Osna Kashi Akuma Akalu, the founder of TFFDS and the board chairman, and all other team members from Afrolongevity, Future News, and all the organizational heads actually felt it wise that this cybersecurity webinar should be made open to the public, so we'll be cybersecurity conscious. Now, today we have our guests. Our guests are from, sorry, hold on. Our guests are uh, our guests are from we call them the Red Team Hacker Academy. It's based in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai, and you can check them out. Just Google search Red Team Hacker Academy. You will get a good knowledge of these persons. They offer so many programs. They offer certification programs, diploma programs, CSSP certification programs that gives you better knowledge and in-depth understanding and hard hands-on lessons on cybersecurity. So this is what they do, and we would kickstarting this session by first of all introducing myself. I'm the convener of this training. I am Urefe Ogeneyoma Victor. I'm the head Academy of the Future for TFFDS, and I I'm a techie. I'm a web developer and a mobile developer, and also one that does data analytics using machine learning. All right, now in this meeting today, speaking with us is Alien Benedict. He is a cybersecurity researcher. His qualifications are such: he have BCA, BCA, BCA person plus diploma in information technology and cyber defense. He worked as an intern with Red Team Cybersecurity Labs and now work as a cybersecurity researcher where in Red Team Hacker Academy. Now, he teaches courses such as Advanced Penetration Testing, that's APT, and Cisco Certified Network Associate. Now, he is actually someone that I truly admire, and I'll be handing over the floor to him now. Alien, please.
Yes, thank you for the kind introduction. So I'll introduce myself once again. So uh, my name is Alan Benedict. I'm the cybersecurity researcher. So from Rating Hacker Academy, of course. So thank you for giving me the honor to actually, give me to present an opportunity to share my knowledge on what cybersecurity is, what cybersecurity awareness, why it is actually needed for us as an individual to actually learn how to protect ourselves from all of these malicious actors and attackers and all of those. So, without any further ado, so I'm gonna start. All right. So, cybersecurity awareness. So, cybersecurity awareness. Why is it actually important? So, as I told you before, so every individual need to have some kind of security measures. So without any security measures, you can't actually walk free. All right. So there is encryption, decryption, and all of this kind of technologies which actually help you keeping secure. But there are other malicious actors which will actually use your data. So use your data and will actually sell it to the dark web, and they sell it for a couple of dollars and all of that. So what we're going to be learning today is how to protect ourselves from that particular situation, and we'll be learning on importance of data. All right. First, we'll be starting with the importance of data. All right. So, data. So, data is kind of an unprocessed information. All right. So, raw data and all of that. So, it's meaningless. Only the information is actually the processed data. All right. Which makes it meaningful. All right. So, we generate data. All right. So for example, take my contact list for example. So my connections will keep on increasing, so it'll actually increase the data generation. All right. Suppose take Amazon for example. If I shop more on Amazon, I'm creating more and more data. Okay, and that is given to the Amazon. So Amazon usually important. So today, what you're going to be learning will be, cyber threats. Why cyber threats are attacking you, why it is targeting you, and all of that. Then comes the phishing. So, what are the types of phishing? How they are actually using phishing, and how they can actually trick that particular users to give out sensitive information. All right. Then the weak passwords. So the weak passwords, in the sense, if you are using a normal simple 1 2 3 4 5 6 or something like that, it's very weak and it is actually guessable. So how you can actually create a stronger password and all of that. Okay. So, and what is malware and ransomware? So malware is malicious software and ransomware is actually a part of malware. And also the physical security and the dangers of public Wi-Fi, and also a bit about cryptography and denial of service, and how hackers use information gathering techniques to actually make sure that they are able to gather information on that particular person. All right. So this is what you are going to be learning today. All right. So cyber threats. So it's actually, it's clever not to opt. So what are the types of phishing, how they're actually using phishing, and uh, how they can actually trick that particular users to give out sensitive information. All right. Then the weak passwords. So the weak passwords, in the sense, if you are using a normal simple 1 2 3 4 5 6 or something like that, it's very weak and it is actually guessable. So how you can actually create a stronger password and all of that. Okay. So, and what is malware and ransomware? So malware is malicious software and ransomware is actually a part of malware. And also the physical security and the dangers of public Wi-Fi, and also a bit about cryptography and denial of service, and how hackers use information gathering techniques to actually make sure that they are able to gather information on that particular person. All right. So this is what you are going to be learning today. All right. So cyber threats. So it's actually, it's clever not to opt out of cybersecurity awareness, because it's really important, because it's your responsibility to safeguard your data. All right. So, cyber threats that target people. So, humans are a growing threat for cyber attacks. Why cyber attacks? Because cyber attacks are very hard to actually to get caught. Because if you look at black hat hackers, which means the illegal hackers, their annual income is around $1 million a year. So they are earning that much of money. So that's a lot of money. So they are actually learn they are actually getting this lot of money by actually selling our information. Okay, our information as an individual. So it is actually our responsibility to actually protect from it, and how to be protect from it is what I'm going to be teaching in this particular awareness session. Okay, so let's look at the summary. I'll be summarizing what this four are, then we'll be looking at the details. All right. So phishing. So phishing is actually the practice of sending fraudulent communication that tricks recipient into clicking a malicious link. All right. So suppose you get some messages and all of that, and they are telling you to click on it, and after clicking on it, you are sending your details, and the details is captured by the attacker. and that attacker is using that in the official web page, and he is actually doing whatever he can with that particular username and password. So that's phishing. So then comes the malware. So malicious software which is designed to disrupt your system. Okay. So how a malware spreads? So when you actually download a malicious attachment and all of that. Okay. Then comes the insider threats. So this is actually happening within the organization as opposed to be one from the external source. So this is actually happening within an organization. Then comes the supply chain attacks, attempts to damage an organization by exploiting vulnerabilities in its supply chain network. All right, so these are the threats. These are the cyber threats that target humans. All right, so let's look at what phishing is in detail. Okay, so take an attacker. So attacker is actually sending email to that particular victim, and that victim goes on to the email and clicks on the phishing and goes to the phishing website. And after going to the phishing website, he is actually collecting victims credentials, and that victim credentials is with the attacker now, and he is logging into that particular official website using that particular victim's credentials. So victim here maybe it'll be me or some other person who is actually clicking on that phishing link. All right, so this is how that phishing is. So we'll be looking at the types of phishing and how dangerous each type of phishing can be. So let's look at spear phishing. So spear phishing. So phishing mostly happens randomly. All right. So these attackers, they somehow want something, some information like your credit card details and all of that, and some or the other people will be falling for it. But in spear phishing case, if you are a branch head of a particular company, or if you are a sales staff of that particular company, okay, so they are studying you. They are studying you, where you are from, where you are working, what is your position, and what is your status, and all of that. They are studying you. After studying you, they are actually manipulating you into actually clicking that particular phishing mail. Okay, and after clicking on that particular mail, you are actually going on that particular site and you're putting your credentials, and that one gives away that potential credentials which such as username, password, and address, and all of those. So you are actually giving away your company's credentials, and if someone will be able to use that company's credentials, they will be able to get hold of company's data, and business loss will happen for sure. So this is spear phishing. So they are specifically targeting a person in a company. Okay, so then comes the whale phishing. So whale phishing is a spear phishing attack, but it is specifically onto a higher level executive people such as CEOs and CFOs. So you can see in this example here that CEO at company.com and Bob at company.com. So the subject is wire transfer. Is the CEO? I'm out of office, but could you make the wire transfer payment for me today? So he is actually trying to fake himself, and he is trying to give out that particular email. So this is actually directed onto that particular CEOs and CFOs. All right, so that is whale phishing, specifically targeting that particular person. So whale phishing. So the modus operandi is CEOs. They'll be actually trying to make sure that they'll write a mail which seems that it is from an authentic source. So when users click, it directs to the fraudulent websites. They write the credentials, and afterwards, this information is entered into the fake site. Then it is redirected to the legitimate site. Then the attacker now has the access to sensitive details to access information or data. So this is how whaling actually operates. So then comes the wishing attack. So wishing is just phishing, but in a form of a voice. So some scammer is actually calling you using a fake number, and he is actually trying to say that he is actually from a bank, and he is actually asking you some security questions, and you are answering it. And after answering it, they are actually using that particular security question answers, because they are trying to guess the passwords and all of that. And after logging in, they are able to steal sensitive data. Okay, so mostly, phishing, whenever it comes to the phishing, you have to make sure that there will be some urgency. All right, so humans actually get fear when something urgent or something is happening. Okay, they'll actually use that particular pressure, and they'll actually get manipulated. They are actually manipulated by that particular human instinct, which is urgency, and that pressure of that urgency, which will lead to their downfall. Okay, so then comes the smishing. Okay, smishing is nothing but SMS phishing. Okay, so this is actually inside it. SMS. Okay, so in that SMS, they'll be giving you this message like this one has expired or something, and they'll be giving you a link, and you are supposed to click on it. Okay, so when user opens the text, clicks on the link, and gives away private data, the attacker is using that particular data to commit fraud for profit. All right, so you can see that just because it says text message, it doesn't mean just because it is a text message, it doesn't mean that it is safe. Look out for inciting offers, unusual requests, alert that makes you that makes you panic, and also unusual link. So you have to make sure that you are alert. So you can see that there is some unusual link there, so which is a dark web portal, which is a suspicious link. So you have to make sure that you are not clicking on it. Then you can see that this is a particular example of smishing. So you can see the instead of Netflix, you can see that it is ntlfix.id and hashtag 500604. And you can see there is some grammar mistake and all of that, and you can see that there is some unusual link. All right, so you can see the GIF, which is actually giving you all this particular hints that this is a smishing. Okay, so you can see, so you have to delete that message. So again, so Netflix ID, so you can see that SMS and in corporate name is wrong, and the subject line scaring, urgent message, the incorrect ID, and bad phrasing, and also the suspicious link for payment. So these are all the hints that that it is not a correct phishing attack. All right. So there is also social media scams. So you can see that just because it's on the social network doesn't mean that you can trust it. All right. So if it is too good to be true, it's probably a scam. So if thousands of likes and shares could be from fake accounts, all right. So it's better that you stay alert. All right. So a successful phishing attack. So what can it result in? So identity theft. So identity theft, especially so if they're actually using your username and password, they can actually imitate you. So they are actually having your whole identity, and they can actually mess with that particular identity, and you will be actually caught for whatever you are actually the criminals are actually doing. You will be actually caught for it. So the theft of sensitive data, the theft of client information, the loss of usernames, loss of intellectual properties, and all of this. So why cybersecurity awareness is needed? To make sure that employees are trained. Employees have some kind of awareness on how to be protected, because most of them you know are insider attacks mostly. I had an opportunity to go to a conference yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, I think 2 months ago, which was about cybersecurity management. So there actually they actually showcased beautifully on how insider attack works. So if you are in a corporate network, for example, and one of an insider, so some insider from your company doesn't like the company, and He is the one who is actually trying to get out of this company as soon as possible. But before that, he is actually trying to reveal the company's secrets. All right. So what he actually tries to do is he actually tries to make sure that he turn off that particular Microsoft Defender. All right. So in a corporate network, if you turn off, Microsoft Defender, you'll be most of you will be thinking like, I'm sure there will be alerts that Microsoft Defender is off. All right, but you can actually disable that particular notification, and no one will actually know in that particular corporate network that Microsoft Defender is off. And if that Microsoft Defender is off, the upcoming vulnerabilities, that company will be affected. All right. So that was the one which they have actually showcased in the conference which I attended 2 months ago, which was about the cybersecurity management. So they have really actually showcased how that particular technique and all of those works. It was a really good one. So you have to make sure that insider threats, will be looking into detail what insider threat is, but I'm giving you an example. All right, so they can also give you out, the competitors can also give you out phishing links so that they'll gather more information from that, competitions. All right, so can you spot a fish? So I'll be giving you a email sample. So you just have to spot whether it is a phishing mail or not. All right. So some are easy to spot, but others are not. So in the age of AI and machine learning, it is really hard to spot, because in this coming day and age, the attacks are becoming more sophisticated. Sophisticated in the sense it is becoming harder to track, and it is becoming harder to actually get alerts as well. So you have to make sure that you are keeping updated with the technologies and also the alerts as well, so that you can be protected. All right. So never send your password or personal information in email. Be cautious when clicking on unknown links. Learn how to recognize internet scams and delete spam immediately without opening it. So this is how you can actually spot a fish. So this is actually the email. So you can see that it's from Amazon. So you can see that there is some mistakes, but hope some of you are able to spot it. So you can see that Amazon is there, and you can see that dear valued customer. So response required. So it is actually giving you a sense of urgency. So click here as humanly possible to resolve this issue. That one also is actually showing that that urgency is created because humans actually fall for this urgency. All right. So humans are emotional. So most of the humans are actually illogical. I'm not saying that everyone is, but most of them actually, most of the humans actually use emotions to actually handle situations. So the attackers are actually using that particular negative emotions. All right, so they're actually creating the sense of urgency so that you'll be panicking. After panicking, you won't be thinking straight, and after you won't be thinking straight, you will be doing whatever it is telling you to do, and after that, you'll be still more emotionally down after knowing that you are actually fallen for their trap. So you can see the next slide, you can see that it is misspelled, not from the company. If it will be from the company, it will be at amazon.com. You can see that it is external mail. Okay, so you can see that response is required, so misspelled. So you can see that it is a link, it is urgent. To ensure proper delivery, they are actually trying to make sure that a threat feeling is actually there, and also the urgency is also there again and again. So this is how you can actually recognize that phishing attacks, they're actually using your emotions. So how do you stay protected from phishing? So you can see the generic meetings, generic greetings, sorry. So and the poor spelling, poor grammar, request for an immediate response. So you have to stay alert and be your own cyber hero. All right. So And also one more solution is you can just type the website by yourself. So you can see that it is type the website yourself.com. All right. And if you're not sure, you know, if you're not sure whether that particular email that you're getting is from the official purposes, go to their official website and call them. Call them if this is an emergency or not. So mostly whenever, you know, if there is some reset password questions and all of that, never any company will tell you to take action as soon as possible. Okay, they won't give you that urgency feeling which attackers give you. So make sure that you're calm and sophisticated, and make sure that you are able to think clearly, and make sure that you're not falling for any of this. Okay, so let me just demonstrate you a bit on phishing. So just a minute. Let me just share my entire screen. So hope everyone can see it. So you can see that this is Instagram. All right. So you don't have to think much about the link because I have locally hosted it. Because only professional red teamers actually use URL shorteners and all of that. So that is actually the red teaming, the more advanced part. But just to show you an example, I'm just locally hosting it in my system. All right. So I'm just typing something. So something else, and also something as the password. And if I click on login, and you can see that I was directly redirected to that official instagram.com, and you can see when I have hosted this particular website, whatever I have typed,
Whoa.
the username and the password, it was taken, you know they have stored it. Okay, and also you can take that particular this one whenever you want. And also as soon as anyone clicks this particular link, we'll be getting an IP address as well. So IP address is like a temporary address. So you are actually using internet with the use of IP addresses. All right, so we'll be able to find out which IP address that particular person is actually using. So as I told you, for the demonstration purposes, I have locally hosted it in my system, and you can see that the victim's IP. So as soon as they clicked on this particular link, they have gotten the username and the password, and they have automatically redirected to the official site, thinking there was some mishap or something, and they'll try to log in again, but their credentials are with the attackers now. So this is how normal phishing works. All right. So whatever information you're putting inside that, it is given to the attackers. So yes, let's come to the next one. So that's all about phishing. So now is how you can actually yes. So there is one more thing I actually forgot. So suppose I have this particular emails. Okay, then I am actually let me. So there is a extension called as Square X. So you can just download this one. So what you can actually do is you can just search for Square X. So this is actually made by a cybersecurity veteran who is Vivek Ramachandran. All right. So he actually created. He and his team has created this tool called as Square X. Okay. So which is used to detect, mitigate, and threat hunt, and also used for disposable browsing and all of those. So this is like a disposable browser. Okay, this is like a temporary browser. Whatever is happening inside this doesn't go in or doesn't go out of this particular browser. All right, so this is a browser inside a browser. So whatever links I'm actually putting in this, it is not affected by the other tabs. All right. So if there is any malicious, if there is any attachments, there is no attachments in my mail, but if there is any attachments, you can just right click on it and just click on open in SquareX, and disposable file viewer will actually open, which will be able to make sure that you are able to view this particular attachment. All right, so you are not downloading it. So if you're not downloading it, the possibility of the malware spreading is actually stopped. Suppose if it was a malicious attachment. So you can actually use this pretty cool extension, which is SquareX. You just have to, click on personal and you have to log in. So there is an enterprise edition as well, but I would say this is a pretty good, tool. So you can see the disposable file viewer, and there is also a disposable email option where you can actually use a temporary email, so that if you are actually finding yourself giving out information uselessly, you can actually use this particular disposable email to give out the fake email to marketing purposes, so that they avoid getting your personal information and they are actually getting a duplicate information. So you can see that the extension, this browser is actually, as I have told you, is a disposable browser. So whatever you do inside this browser is actually within this particular time frame. So you can see that the initial session is only 5 minutes, but if you want to extend, you can extend it by 10 minutes. And also Google searching in this is much faster. Stay signed out. So google.com is very much faster here. So because it is actually directly connected to their particular servers, so it is actually much faster than other browsers as well inside this particular session. As I told you, it's disposable, it's temporary. So whatever you do after 10 minutes, it will be destroyed. So you can see that they have this particular uBlock origin extension inbuilt as well. So which will actually help you to make sure that all the blockers and trackers are actually removed from the browser as well. So this is just one of the features of SquareX. So I'd really recommend you guys to actually check out SquareX, because if you get some link, it is better to actually verify it before clicking it, and SquareX actually help you do that. So if you just go here, you can just go here and click on open in SquareX, and you can choose the location on which browser you wanted to open, and it'll actually open a disposable browser for you, and it'll open that particular link, and you can verify that whether it is a spam or not. Okay, and you can use the, as I told you before, you can use check the attachments as well. So this is about SquareX. Okay. Then there is also Web of Trust. So if you actually use Web of Trust, Web of Trust is nothing but a website. So if I actually use Google.com and I'm trying to search for a Team Hacker Academy, for example, and you can see a green tick mark right over here. So you can see that this particular extension, Web of Trust, so this is actually a premium. Only when you have premium, you will have full benefits of it. But you can see a green tick mark, which assures you that it is actually a trusted website. Okay, and there are some which they don't know as well. But for most of them, it is actually giving you a trusted website. So Web of Trust is also a pretty good resource. It is all of these are extensions. So after this, I'll be actually giving you the link of the extensions and also the presentation as well. And there is also Fish Tank as well. So Fish Tank is actually join the fight against phishing. So this is actually a collaborative approach, which will actually give you a list of suspicious links and suspected fishes and all of that. So you can actually use this to verify whether this one is a phishing site or not. Okay, so this is a pretty good tool as well. So this is how you can actually make sure that you are protected against phishing. So class call ends in 15 minutes. Oh, okay. Yes, so let me present it. So, never share sensitive information on social networks. So, why is that so? Because, suppose take this one for example, so retailer. So, they're actually giving out what all they need and what all they are actually doing it in Twitter and all of those social media websites. So, you can see that, from this we can actually get an idea of who he is, what he is, and everything. Okay, so that's why I actually don't use social media, because I don't actually like to give out much information about myself. So that's why I don't actually use social media. So you can see that from one social media you can actually get, just from a last few tweets from Sue, we can actually see that he's from this address and this house is vacant, this is the possible passwords, and this is the security questions which will be possible, and this is the personal information. So all from social media they were able to find out all this particular information. So this is just an example, and there might be others who is actually sharing this particular sensitive information in their social media network. So I recommend not doing that, because like if you are actually telling to all the social media that you are going in a trip for 2 weeks, some attacker, if he sees that, and if he knows the where location of your house, and he knows that that particular house is vacant, and he'll have a chance to rob your house, and everything in it will be gone. So don't risk it, I would say. So the time the attacker takes to crack your password, so instantly, because there is a procedure called as brute force attack. So if they have the potential username and they don't know your password, so they'll be actually using a list of passwords to make sure that they'll be actually attacking till they get the right combination. So so you can see that if you type password, it's instantly, and if it is with some special characters, it will take around 2 hours. So you can see that when there is a complex password, you can see that it is around 8 hours, and if you use a passphrase, it will actually take you 800 octillion years. So you can actually use a website called as you know password monster passwordmonster.com. So this will actually give you how secure your password is. So if I am typing so so this is my master password, so which I am using. So this will actually, it's still more are there. So this is actually my password. So this is my master password. So you can see that it takes around this much amount of time to actually crack it. Even if they have, high processing computers, they won't be able to, because first of all, this much long amount of characters won't be there in a particular word list. So brute force, the limitation is that you will be having a word list which has a list of words which might be your password. But if it is about 25 characters, it is very hard to actually generate a password according to that particular word list. So make sure that you are using different password for different websites. Okay, make sure that you are using different password for different websites, because suppose take there is a website called as Have I Been On. Okay, so this is a website. So I am typing my email address. So when I was not a cybersecurity researcher, I was just a simple normal guy who was actually watching anime and manga. So this was the email I was actually using. So it's actually private. Wait. ASP private 129. Yes. So you can see that this was my old email, for example. So you can see that a breach has occurred. So this website actually tells you the breaches which has actually occurred in this particular website. So you can see that in 2021 this particular website called as Manga Dex, they suffered a data breach. So that's why I actually recommend you to make sure that you use a password technique called as double blind password technique. So double blind password technique is nothing much. So let me just show it to you very quick. So I'm logging into a website, and also one more thing, please use a password manager. I'll be explaining you why soon enough. So you can see that password manager has given me the password and the username. Simple, right? But if suppose this particular website suffered a data breach, what will you actually do? Okay, you can either change your password, all right, but even though changing your password as soon as you know that data breach has occurred is a good measure, but suppose what if you don't know whether that breach has happened. So that's why in order to make sure that it doesn't happen that way, I actually use a double blind password method. So this part of the password, your password managers know it, but I don't know, and I'm going to be adding a few more characters as well, which I know, but the password manager don't. So I'm sure you have understood what the double blind meant by that. So I don't know my password. My password manager also don't know my password. So both are actually blind because password manager only knows half of it. I knows only half of it. So this is how you can actually secure from actually if suppose the data breach has actually happened. And also make sure that you use password managers because it's really important. As you're living in this day and age, you have to make sure that you have unique usernames, unique passwords, and a really lengthy long password. So if you are really lazy to remember all of those complicated password, you can just use password manager. So that's simple. So you can just take a plus symbol and you can just put some name, some username, and if you're still lazy to actually generate username, this will actually generate it for you. So like snowbird 3538. How cool is that? So just see you have gotten a username without even thinking much. And if you want, you can generate the password. If you want how much special characters you want, you can add it and also select it. Okay, after that, you just have to specify the URL for which login website it is, and if there is any notes, you can actually do that. Okay, so this is how you can actually use password managers to your advantage. All right, and also make sure that you enable two-factor authentications because that will add a good amount of security. And also, if you are using your mobile phones, make sure that you have your fingerprint enabled, because there is only 1 in 50,000 chance that attacker can crack the fingerprint, because as it is biometric, it is really very hard to actually crack that particular password. All right, so yes.
Okay. I think they are telling us that we have about 6 minutes to round up the call. So I quickly created a new meeting link now, and I said
Yes.
just copy that, save it immediately. This one log us all out. We join with that account immediately to continue the
Oh, yes.
presentation.
Yes, yes.
So please copy that link now. Copy that link. If the URL is there for the meeting already, copy it
Oh,
now. So you join with it immediately. This one log us off.
okay. Let me just make sure that it is there. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. So everybody do that now. So we join with the in 5 minutes we'll be logged off from this one. All right. So let's
Okay,
continue.
so yes, let's continue. Yes. Yeah. So this is how you can actually make sure that your passwords are actually strong. Okay, so make sure that it is not weak. So I'm sure I have shown you in the password strength meter. So this is how, now if you just type 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, so you can see that it takes instantly, because that is actually the first word which will actually come in the word list. Okay, so that's why you have to make sure. And there are silly passwords which actually people use, like I love you. So it takes 0 seconds. I love you, then princess, funny passwords, but actually people are still using it. And if you go to have I been pawned, you can see that if you go to the password section, you can see that how much times that particular password has come in their data breaches database. So you can see that 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 has been seen around 18 million times. I think that's the number. Oof, that's huge. So people are still using it. So that's why it's better to use a service like bitwarden.com, which will actually create a new password for you. And also there are many other services as well, like KeyPass, OnePass, One Password, and etc. So this is how you can actually make sure that you are actually having a long and complex password. So I was thinking like maybe like it's gonna end in 4 minutes. So yeah, we just finish with the dumpster diving and we'll jump onto the new link. All right. So dumpster diving. So dumpster diving. So as this photo you have seen, it is actually combing through someone else's trash to find treasures, or in the tech world, discarded sensitive information that could be used in a illegal manner. Information that should be securely discarded includes, but not limited to. This is the dumpster diving. So this is the sensitive information, which is passwords, access codes, organizational charts, calendars, network application diagrams, credit card receipts, expense reports, phone numbers, printed emails, and names. So these are all the important sensitive information which many people discard, and many people forget about this particular thing and how it can actually impact. In the olden in the 90s, people were actually throwing their hard drives, and competitors can just take that particular hard drive and find some sensitive information on that particular hard drive. So that's why you have to make sure that you are. I'm sure many corporations will be having the shredder machine, which will actually shred all the papers. Mostly, I'm sure you have seen it in the spy movies, how they're actually, shredding out those papers into tiny pieces, which can't be, which will take a really long time to attach. And I don't think if you attach it, you will be able to understand what that particular file or that paper will be. So that's why using a shredder in the corporate world is actually important. And credit card receipts as well. So suppose you have got a bill, a receipt, for example. So suppose yes, in Dubai, suppose you actually shop. All right, so there is actually the loyalty card points. Okay, so for card points, many people will be using their phone number. So just think that you are actually throwing that particular bill, that receipt, and if someone receives that particular receipt, if they are actually using that loyalty card, they can see that particular phone number of that particular person. So if you want to find more information, so many marketers, they just need data, so they can actually get this particular receipts, and they'll be actually seeing that particular, they'll be using that particular data for marketing purposes. So that's how information spreads, or that's how people are actually getting your phone numbers one way or the other. So there are actually data brokers which actually sell your data. So there are websites like Delete Me. So Delete Me. So this delete me helps you actually. Yep, let's start. So you can see this is delete me. So your personal data is yours again. So this is actually they are actually you can see that submit your personal information from renewal from search engines and data broker sites. So you might think that the old information about you, will be useless. So, but it is actually useful to other people such as data brokers. So they actually use this particular information and they sell it to others, okay, for marketing and all of that. So you have to make sure that you are protected from this. So there is one website which is Delete Me, which will actually make sure that this particular data is actually not in the hands of the data brokers and also from search engines as well. So you submit your information on what websites and all of that, and what information do you want to remove, and experts will be searching for your personal information, and you can see that removal procedure will start within 7 days, and afterwards it will scan and delete all these years if you have the subscription. So this is a pretty good website, which will actually give you all the information that you particularly have. And also there is Save Mine. So mine, the future of data ownership, so which is actually making sure that you own your data. So this one has almost the same agenda as almost the same agenda as delete me. Then there is incogni as well. Incogni. So data broker removal service, they actually make sure that they remove all the all the marketing and all the particular scams and all of those. So this is how these are the services which you can actually use to make sure that you are secure. So you can see that many experts like Johnny Harris. Johnny Harris is a pretty good journalist. So my phone doesn't blow up anymore. My email is under control. So he is also one of the biggest online creators. So he is actually pretty much using this particular incognito services. And also be careful on whom you actually send your phone number as well. So there are actually services like Hushed, where you have to pay a little bit of money, so which will actually give you a secondary phone for Wi-Fi calling, so make private calls and all of that. So this will actually give you a alternative phone number, and you have to pay a bit of money, but you can actually use this service, which is actually pretty good. So you can actually use all of these particular services. So delete me and say mine and also incogni and also Hushed on for phone numbers. So let's go back to how you can actually so make sure that, so suppose you are actually selling your laptop, all right? So there are data recovery software which will actually recover the data present in your laptops. Okay, so how do you actually do to prevent that? Because there are data recovery software which works almost 100%, and they will recover whatever data you have actually deleted. So how do you actually make sure that you are safe from that one? Okay, so if you really want to throw that particular hard drive or that particular laptop and you're selling it, okay, make sure that you are clearing it first, and make sure that you have a really large file. Okay, suppose take a 2 GB, 2 GB of a movie, for example. Make thousands of copies of it. It's all according to your hard drive. So if it is 1 TB, make sure that it is actually make sure that that movie is copied until that particular 1 TB of storage is actually filled. Okay, so whenever some data recovery person actually recovers your data, instead of recovering some sensitive information, he is actually recovering thousands of movies of that particular same movie. Okay, so make thousands or 10,000 copies of that particular same movie, and data recovery experts will be having a hard time, finding out sensitive information from that particular laptop that you have actually, trying to sell. So baiting is nothing but some people are walking around. They are actually throwing one or two pen drives, and as soon as someone sees a pen drive, according to their natural instinct, is actually to take it and insert into their system. But once that user insert that particular USB device, they are actually infected with malware. Okay, so if you really want to use that particular USB, you can actually use a sandbox environment. You can use a operating system called as Unix or Cubes OS, which is a really privacy focused and sandbox operating system. But if you are trying to use internet from that particular operating system, I would suggest that you stay away from that particular operating system, because it is slow. It is really slow. It is really slow. Okay, and the risk of removable media. So you can see that if sensitive information is lost or compromised, an organization can be subjected to financial penalties. Research has shown that up to a third of customers will stop doing business with an organization after they have been breached. Because why cybersecurity is actually needed? Because operational factor is there. There is also a reputational factor. So what does this reputational factor mean? So this is what if that data breaches, if that particular data breach has happened, your future potential customers will be believing you, will be stop believing you. I mean, will stop believing you. Sorry, my grammar is a bit here and there. So they'll actually stop believing you. All right. So you have to make sure that your reputation is also there, because in business, reputation is really important. First impressions is really important, because this world that we are living is all about data, is all about business, it's all about selling products, and it's actually a business focused. If you look at it, Amazon and Flipkart and all other services are actually earning a huge amount of money, because business is one of the things which is actually present in this world. So why cybersecurity is important? Because businesses should be protected, the data should be protected. That's why cybersecurity is important. That's why cybersecurity is actually booming, and also that's why cybersecurity is gonna be booming as more and more businesses actually coming. So this you can think of cybersecurity is just like an insurance. So insurance in the sense, we actually try to make sure that we protect the data, but what we'll be actually thinking in the worst scenario as well. So we actually think in a scenario like hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So even if some worst happens, we should be actually prepared for it. So that is actually cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is just like insurance. If something bad happens, what are you going to do to minimize that particular damage? All right. So we are trying to make sure that nothing bad happens. But if something bad happens, we have to make sure that the risk and the fraud and all of that is actually minimized. So that's what our job as a cybersecurity professional is. Okay, so let's look at types of malware. So as I told you before, whenever you are getting a suspicious mail and they have given you an attachment and you are downloading it. So if you are downloading it and that particular file reaches your system, that particular malware. The full form is actually the malicious software. Okay, so malicious software, software, I'm sure you know that it is an application is built of codes. So virus is just a code, which will be running in the background of that particular files or attachments. Okay, So there are types of malware as well. So worm, which will actually duplicate itself as much as they want. Then virus, after after reaching that particular computer, it will be actually infecting the other files as well. So that is actually the virus. But worms actually self-replicate and doesn't infect the files, but virus infect the files. Okay, Trojan horse. So Trojan horse is nothing but a type of virus which is actually running in the background. Okay, so no one knows about its existence, but it is actually from behind. It is actually stealing data and all of those. It is modifying the data and all of those. Then comes the spyware. So spyware is nothing but you're not. So what all informations? Take Pegasus for example. I'm sure Pegasus. I'm sure everyone knows because it is actually famous for its spyware, which is a really good software which doesn't it doesn't actually require even the user interaction, and they are able to spy a computers or a mobile phones in an instant. That's how good they have actually built that particular software. So then comes ransomware. So mostly we'll be focusing on the ransomware part. So ransomware is nothing but from that word itself. So ransom. So they are asking something in return to get your data. So they have actually kidnapped your data, and you are paying to get that data back. Okay, so that is actually ransomware. Then the adware. So adware is not kind of malicious, but many people actually survive based on this particular advertisements which is shown in that particular web pages. So they actually try to earn money from it. So the advertisement, the numbers will be increasing as more and more revenue will be generated from that particular ads. So ransomware. So it is estimated that 90% of phishing mails and over 70% of malicious advertisements contain ransomware. So don't get caught by ransomware. Think before you click. So you have to make sure that you are not clicking because ransomware can spread through the link as well. Okay. So and also using the malicious attachment as well. So what ransomware does is that it actually encrypts your particular data. So after encrypting your actual particular data, they'll be giving you a huge dialog box, and they'll be asking that you have been hacked, and if you want your files back, you have to pay this much amount of money in Bitcoin. Why Bitcoin? Because it is specifically hard to track. Okay, and once they get their payment, only then they'll be actually decrypting your data. Okay, I'm sure you have heard of the infamous WannaCry ransomware on the 2017, which was actually they actually used the SMB protocol because SMB was version 1 at that time. So now SMB is actually pretty much secure because they have end-to-end encryption, but SMB version 1 was not at all secure. Okay, so they actually used that particular SMB protocol. So if you are more interested, if you're more interested in that, I'll be giving you a link on that WannaCry ransomware as well. So I'll be informing Farhana to actually send you guys a mail to actually give you the PPT and also the resources at the end of this particular awareness session. And the consequence of a click. So think before you click. So do not click email links or open attachments that you're not 100% sure are legitimate. Your next click could be your last. So if suppose you have clicked it, what happens? So important steps to take if your device is becoming infected. So if you suspect you have been hit by a ransomware, it's important to act quickly. Immediately disconnect the infected computers from all the network connections, because if it actually accesses one system, it might spread to the other systems in the local network as well. Okay, so whether it is wired, wireless, or mobile phone based, make sure that you are disconnected from that particular network. Alert the IT security team so that they can effectively combat ransomware, and power down or hibernate your device. Do not restart your device, as this could help the malware in certain circumstances, because when you actually restart, you are actually trying to make sure that the malware sometimes actually builds persistence. How it will actually build the persistence, that is, you'll be learning in the red teaming part of cybersecurity. So resistance is nothing but, persistence is nothing but having communication channel between the infected computers and that particular attacker machine. So if someone gets attacked by the ransomware, and sometimes if they restart it by mistake, sometimes they will actually get the persistence, which is the communication channel, which can actually make sure that sometimes it will be lifelong, okay, which you might know, but it is actually running in your background, okay. So make sure that you are immediately disconnecting, alert the security team, or power down or shut it down. Okay. Then physical security. Okay, physical security is really important because this is where insider threat comes in. Okay, ID badges must be worn by staff. Be prepared to stop and comfort anyone attempting to gain unauthorized access. So the types of physical security mostly comes like tailgating. So someone is actually behind your back who doesn't have an ID, and you are actually using your access card to actually enter that particular room, but someone from behind is sneaking behind you and actually entering that particular room. So you have to make sure that that doesn't happen. All right. So, and also you have to make sure that you are prepared to stop and confront anyone. And also, all visitors must sign in at the reception and should be issued with a visitor's badge to know that they are actually a visitor. And they'll be having this some certain access control limitations as well, like they'll be able to look at the reception and all other rooms, not the server rooms and data center rooms and all of that. Because if someone has access to the internal servers and data centers, an insider can definitely put malicious attack on that particular company, and sometimes it will lead to huge amount of data loss. So tailgating, never let anyone follow you in without showing their proper ID, and make sure that you are, when faxing information, so please be careful, make sure that you are sending it to the proper recipient. So if you are sending sensitive information to the wrong person, it could seriously damage your reputation. Okay, so how to protect from this particular physical security attacks? So you have to make sure that you have to safeguard your organization from physical security threats. Never allow anyone to be tailgated. Never write down your passwords. Lock your devices when you are not using it. Ensure that your desk is cleared. Password protect all your devices. So this is how you can actually protect against physical security physical security threats. Okay, so I am suggesting you to basically follow zero trust. Okay, because you cannot trust anyone, especially even the insiders, because mostly administrators and all of that, if they are not getting their esteem, if they are not getting the pay rise they were expecting and all of that, sometimes they might turn the whole company down. So you have to make sure that you're protected from all of this particular things. So that's why you have to make sure that you're not trusting anyone. All right. So because if someone uh, if someone gets hold of your data into the wrong hands, we as a individual have to pay for the consequences of what is actually happening. So this is on top tips to actually stay on public Wi-Fi. Why I recommend you not using the public Wi-Fi? Because suppose take India for example. I don't know the situation in Africa, but take India for example. In India, there is actually free Wi-Fi from the government. All right, but if you actually look at their websites, you can see that there is no HTTPS, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. There is no HTTPS. Why HTTPS is actually needed? Because it is HTTP with SSL/TLS protocol, which is actually an encryption protocol. So whatever you type will be encrypted. But in India, most of the railway station public Wi-Fi's, they don't have this particular They don't have this particular HTTPS website. They have a HTTP site. So when and the credentials they ask you for is phone number. So any hacker who is actually using that laptop in close proximity, so anyone can actually see your particular phone number and that particular information they'll be able to access it. Okay. So if it is an emergency, you have to use public Wi-Fi. You have to make sure that you are using a VPN first, because it will actually make sure that it is actually connected to a dedicated server. All right, and also make sure that it is make sure that it is end to end, and not the end to end encryption one, but make sure that the site which you are visiting has that particular SSL encryption as well. Make sure that you have firewall enabled, and make sure that you are turning off file sharing. Okay, so this is the top tips on how you can actually stay safe on public Wi-Fi. And social engineering attacks. So what you have actually learned is actually social engineering attacks and all of that. So how do you actually avoid it? So never open emails from unknown sources. So don't click on suspicious link. Avoid opening suspicious mail attachments. So if you want to really view it, you can use an extension called as SquareX, which I had shown you. So you can use that particular extension to actually make sure that you are protected. So never reveal sensitive data, including usernames, passwords, and financial information. If you receive a request, contact the sender directly. Beware of tempting offers. Then do not insert external storage devices. Avoid allowing someone to follow you, because if they have, if they don't have their particular access card, then report any suspicious individuals and install and regularly update antivirus software, because antivirus software will be having up to date databases of what all threats is actually occurring around the world, and they have protection for each and every threats. Okay, so that's why antivirus software is really important to be actually updated. So this is it, guys. But there are some tips as well that I would like to give you. Make sure that you're using fingerprint. Okay, and most of the websites are actually using SHA-256 with RSA encryption, so you can be safe that your data is secure in most of the websites. But you have to make sure that as who sent